Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back here with another video, and this is going to be a long awaited update on my journey to collect every single Lego Star Wars minifigure ever created. When I initially started this series, I was pretty consistent with it. It was when I was first really getting the wall together, so I was buying base plates, I was placing all the minifigures I had in my collection, I was going through my collection and piecing together minifigures that I had taken apart as a child, and everything was going pretty swimmingly, I'd say. And then, like, once I kind of hit a stopping point where there wasn't really too much for me to do beyond buying more figures and, like, opening up some old sets and getting figures out of those, I really just stopped posting updates on this journey. But this is something that is still very important to me, and I kind of figured out a way to motivate myself to stick to it and also give you guys some cool updates as well. So the general structure of these videos moving forward is, for one, they're going to be bi-weekly. I think that that's a good schedule for me. And two, I'm basically going to force myself every 2 weeks to buy at least one new figure to add to the wall. I think that that's a reasonable expectation for myself. Some cases I'll have more than one figure that I'll purchase. Like in this example, I actually purchased 3 figures. So there will be a kind of an like unboxing component to the videos where, you know, I'll show you guys what I picked up. It'll be kind of a surprise to you guys, and I'll maybe talk a little bit about the figures that I purchased, and then we'll go over to the wall, and I will typically have somewhat of a queue that I need of like figures that I need to place, mainly because like I'm always like taking figures off to use in mocks and stuff like that. So these may be figures that were already on the wall that I took off that I actually need to place back on the wall. For this first episode, I literally have just a pretty big pile of figures that I need to put back on the wall, or even put on the wall for the first time, because they are from sets that just recently came out. So lots of cool things to come in this episode, and I'm hoping I can be somewhat consistent with this series with that bi-weekly schedule and give you guys, you know, at least one new figure every week to look forward to. I'm thinking maybe if something happens where I'm not able to get a new figure for an episode, or like the figure just doesn't come in on time, maybe I'll just force myself to open up one of my old sets that have a figure that I need to place on the wall, and I'll just do that for the video. I don't know why, and this is probably something I need to like work on as a Lego Star Wars collector, but it's like a big deal for me to open a set, especially like the bigger ones, the UCS sets, without you know, sitting down to build it. Like just having the set opened in my closet without it being built is, I don't know, it kind of gives me anxiety, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get better as a collector. I know it's for me, I don't plan on selling the set, so it really doesn't make a difference whether or not it's open in my closet, but I don't know, it's something I have to work on. But enough of the chit chat. I'm going to have a little unboxing for you guys today. I picked up 3 figures, one of which I think is actually really freaking cool. I've been hesitant on getting it, and I finally pulled the trigger, and I'm so excited to get this thing opened up. So without further ado, let's jump right into this thing, guys. Let's see my package opening skills on camera. They're up to par. You can see I basically like mangled the front of this like shipping label off of here to make sure my address wasn't shown on camera, and the process actually tore into the packaging, but no big deal there. So we got yet another package. I always find it interesting when sellers do this. Actually, okay, so it's not really another package, just put it in the bubble mailer to protect the figure. So, okay, I can appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir, for protecting my figures. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning, this package came from a Bricklink seller called What the Brick. So that's something, I guess. Here we go. We got the figures. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take these out and put them together for you guys. Get out, get out, get out. Okay, so I guess we can start with this guy first. This, I guess Bricklink calls this a clone with sand green markings. I, at the moment, cannot recall like where this guy shows up in the Clone Wars, but this is one of the random clones that I did not have in my collection, so I decided, you know what, may as well throw him in the order. It wasn't really an expensive minifigure to get, but I'm happy to have it. Like, it's a unique looking clone, and that's always cool. You guys know how I personally feel about the styling of these Clone Wars clones, but I can appreciate the variety of clones that we got throughout that run of like the TV series and the Lego sets. And I don't know, I'm happy to have this guy. This is pretty cool figure. The sand green is actually really cool on the figure, and the torso is actually quite detailed. I like the look of that, if you see right there, with those sand green markings, and there's even like I guess like some yellow in there as well. It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, no, pretty good figure all around. I'm glad to have that boy. I will set him aside right over there. Up next, we have SW425, or should I say SW0425. Lego recently hit over 1,000 produced unique Star Wars figures, so now they're 4 digits rather than 3. It's a big learning curve for a lot of people who are often looking up figures to purchase on Bricklink. So, backpack, got his mustache face, hat, and the goggles. So, this is one of the many Echo Base Hoth Rebel Troopers that we've gotten throughout the times. There's just one of them that I didn't own. I'm pretty sure I have like these combination of parts, just not on one figure. They probably each belong to other different figures, so I just didn't have the specific combination for this figure. But these guys have just been through so many changes. I mean, even this year, we're getting a new change with it, so I like this figure. I think that right now, my favorite version of these guys are not the most recent one that came out in 2019, but maybe the Hoth Troopers that came in that Assault on Hoth set, kind of that wave of Hoth Troopers. For one, they had the leg printing, which is actually quite a big deal for me. And also, I don't know how I feel about the gray versus the dark tan. I guess the dark tan is probably more accurate, but I think the leg printing is the thing that really sets the older ones over the newer ones. But this is a super older one where they're actually, they're using tan for like the base torso color and dark tan for the pants. So I don't know, hopefully they will finally converge on one standard design for these guys and stick with it. So I'll go ahead and stick him aside. And now we'll get to what really is the main event of this video, because this is really why I placed this order. I didn't plan on buying those other 2 figures when I bought this one, but I figured they were in the store and they were for a relatively decent price. And I wanted to have more than one figure to show you guys for the kind of the revitalization of this series. So we have here a Shock Trooper Phase 2. Man, I am so happy to have this figure. So this guy came in the Senate Police. This guy came in that Coruscant gunship set. There was actually 2 of them in that set, and these guys are so pricey. Like, the 501st Troopers are pretty pricey, but I think these guys are even more expensive because they came in 1 set rather than 2, and that 1 set was a pretty expensive set. I think it was maybe like $60. So these guys are not easy to get, especially in big quantities. So I'm glad to have at least one. I can add this guy to my wall. I really do like just the aesthetic of the Shock Trooper. This is definitely one of my favorite troopers, and having recently watched the Clone Wars through and like that last arc with like Ahsoka, we see so many of these guys running around, and it really just made me like want just a bunch of these guys. I would love a Shock Trooper battle pack, but in the meantime, I will settle for this one figure. And this is such a fine addition to my collection because I don't have too many of these Phase 2 clones. Like I said, I literally have one 501st Trooper. I have a bunch of like the Utapau 212th guys, and I think I have a couple of the like Kashyyyk Troopers, not this style, but like the Scout Trooper looking guys. But other than that, I don't really have too many of these Phase 2 guys, so it's nice to finally get the Shock Trooper. I really do. I love this figure. Just having it in my hands right now makes me really happy. And this is what we got, guys. This is a minifigure lineup that I purchased for this episode. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the wall, and I'm going to place these figures along with the other figures in the bunch. Alright, so here's my tray of figures. You can see I have various figures, namely some of the guys from the new Cloud City set that I finally just decided to put on the wall. We got Shock Trooper right there along with the other 2 figures that I purchased, and then just some various ones that I've taken off. For example, I took off like the Episode 2 Anakin to put on my Ultra Caddy set. Now he has to go back on the wall. So basically the way I do this is I'll first take a figure, for example, I think I'll take the 21B droid, for example, and I'll look on my computer. This is like every Lego Star Wars minifigure ever made on Brickset, and I'll see, okay, Rio Durant, and then immediately after that is the 21B medical droid. So I will basically go to my wall, and I'll see, hey look, there's little Rio, and then I know the 21B droid will actually go right beside him. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the camera down, and I'll record myself placing all these figures so you guys can see exactly what this looks like, and then we'll regroup right after that. And here we are. I finished placing those minifigures that I had set aside, and the wall is looking a little bit better than it was before. You can see it's looking very full towards the bottom area, which makes sense. That's where I really started picking up with collecting a lot of these figures, and got quite some work to do towards the top. But I think that this new approach towards this series, with me getting at least one new figure every couple of weeks, will definitely help fill in a lot of those gaps. Some noteworthy things is, one, seems that they finally figured out what they wanted to do with this Aldar Beto figure. I think when I initially started cataloging these, they had that one as some weird like letter combination, so it was always at the very front of the list, which is why he's up there. And it also makes sense because he was one of the first figures that they released. I think he probably came out like around in the second year of Lego Star Wars, but now they have him like jumbled somewhere down here in the 900s, which I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I like the idea that like there was a general trend with like the years and the figure numbers going all the way down, and having that figure from literally like the year 2000 down here with all these other figures, I'm not sure how I feel about that, so I may honestly just leave them up there, even though it's not completely accurate to the way that Brickset has them cataloged, but we'll see. Another annoying thing is, I guess, that they finally cataloged the new Last Jedi version of the First Order Stormtrooper with the skinnier frown. And like, I've been obviously placing these figures for quite some time, and I just checked back, and it looks like they basically moved every figure down one, and they crammed this guy right here where Yoda's supposed to be. So I'm gonna have to literally take all those figures down and then put them back up, like one space moved over to have it correct. So that'll probably be a project for the next episode of this series. I think I've done a good amount of work on this thing today. Got my new figures placed, like my new Hoth Trooper. I am very, very proud of that. I love that figure so much, along with the others. So all in all, I'm happy with what I got done today. Still have a long way to go, but I hope you guys are enjoying going on this journey with me. It will be quite the feat once I have collected all of the Lego Star Wars minifigures ever created. That's going to finish up the video, guys. If you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.